What's up, y'all? Today I'm talking about music theory because I got a couple requests on Facebook to cover the subject. Basically, I think that music theory is kind of overrated. It's kind of useless information unless you're actually applying it somewhere in a constructive fashion. So music theory is just descriptive, not prescriptive. So what does that mean? That means that it's not a prescription on how to do something, what to do, how to treat your musical weaknesses. No. It's actually just a description of all the different sounds, all the different colors, all the different notes, all the different combination of those notes. And that's all that it tells you. It's basically like having a dictionary. Like, if you own a dictionary, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good public speaker, or that you're a good writer, or that you're even a good thinker for that matter. So I'm sure you're watching this video expecting me to give you some kind of crazy abstract music theory stuff that you're gonna not even understand, and you somehow think that that's gonna transform you into a great player. Well, I'm gonna tell you the stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna become a great player. It's all about the application, guys. I'm gonna go through a little later in this video and talk about rhythm and scales and chords, and I'm going to get all down into the weeds, all into the details on this, but it's how you apply this stuff. Secondly, in my opinion, music theory is just not simple enough to be effective. It's just not. Let's say, for example, you have a student, a young kid, 7, 8 years old, excelling, already went through to level 1, level 2, level 3 books. They're going along, they're playing Mozart, they're playing Bach, they're playing Beethoven stuff, they're playing the minuets, the inventions, the sinfonias, the fugues, all that. And you want to give them a challenge. So you start telling them something about improvisation. You start talking to them about harmony and cadences and functional chords and the diatonic system and the circle of fifths and all this kind of stuff, right? Well, the problem with this is you try to lay some of this more heavy stuff, some of this more abstract stuff on them, and a lot of them just don't want to hear it. And it's not that they're dumb, it's not that they're not capable of understanding it. It's just that the way that many teachers explain this stuff is so off-putting and so annoyingly complex that the kid just doesn't want anything to do with it. In other words, it's not fun. And so my job as a music teacher is to take some of these really layered, complex, weird ideas and distill them down into something that's simple and effective, and most importantly, something that's fun, right? My third criticism of music theory is that it's just more about thinking than feeling. And that's really weird because it's a theory about music. And what does music do that makes it music? It makes you feel something. It makes you experience some kind of emotion or some kind of thought or some kind of nostalgia or something. It's not always something that's like quantifiable, right? But music theory, it already has everything figured out. We all know that's not the case. We know that's not true. Nothing in even a highest possible level music theory book is going to tell you anything about how to connect with the audience. It's not going to tell you anything about how to make people dance, how to get them on the dance floor. I would actually say that's why most of your music theory professors are teaching in college instead of making their dreams come true in the music business, because they never learn this stuff. So that's kind of my opinion on music theory in general. So the next few videos that I have coming out this week, kind of take it with a grain of salt. So the last thing I'm going to say on this topic has to do with 3 main areas of music theory. And these are important. You should learn all of this stuff. I'm not saying don't learn it, but I'm saying, again, put it in context, take it with a grain of salt. First thing I'm talking about is scales. The most important thing you'll probably ever learn when you're playing an instrument is your scales, right? So you've got 12 tones. You got C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. That's it. That's all the notes that you have. You organize them into patterns of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole steps, half steps. So the whole, whole, half thing is obviously the main major mode, which what's it called again? That's the That's the Ionian mode. So that's a C major scale. It's great to know how to play, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3. You cross your thumb under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, F, G, A, B, C. It's a great skill to have. Practice your scales slow, fast, staccato, legato, different phrasing options, long, short, long. Change the rhythms. Put the metronome on, go offbeat, on the beat, put the metronome on the 16th note subdivisions. That's all different ways to practice your scales to make sure that you're still getting a good technique, so that your fingers can move fast and that you're not, wasting energy. Scales are a great way to improve your general ability and comfort playing on an instrument. However, if I play a Mozart concerto and it's in the key of C, and you hear the first note and it's bah, and it's a C, right? And then I ask my student, what key is this concerto in? And they're like, what? And it's like you hear the C there, right? Bah, there's a C. It's like, so there's your first note. Well, what key is it in? Well, I don't know. That's what I'm talking about here. It's about the application of it. You have to know what it actually sounds like in real music. So let's take another song as an example. Stevie Wonder, Superstition. But oh wait, I forgot. I can't sing it. I'm gonna get a copyright strike on my channel. You can go find it. You can go find the video or something. Go listen to it. We've got our clavinet part, right? Comes in. Ba, da, ba, 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 ba. So you have your pattern. You can hear that one note. Ba. Is kind of the root note. It's kind of the bottom note. Everything else in that bar of music leads you back to that bottom note. And so from that you can figure out then, I can use my ear and say, okay, all these other notes kind of relate back to this one bottom note down there. So that's obviously the key of your song. All the other notes in that song kind of combine. You can stack them all up together and you get sort of a scale out of it. And I would probably assume that in a lot of Stevie Wonder music, the scale is going to be a pentatonic scale. So again, what does that even mean? And I'll take my younger students and I'll say, well, what's a pentagon? And so what is that? That sounds like something fancy. It shouldn't sound that complex to say it's a pentatonic scale. It's a 5-note scale. The scale has 5 notes in it. You've got different variations of that. You could say it's a minor pentatonic scale. You could say it's a major pentatonic scale. And these are just descriptions of that Stevie Wonder song. So is it in a minor pentatonic or a major pentatonic? Let me know in the comments below. But you've got your Stevie Wonder. You figured out your scale now. And you may have already practiced that scale 100,000 times. But guess what? You still can't play Stevie Wonder Superstition like Stevie Wonder played it on that clavinet. So you got to know the scale, but it's about what you do with that scale. And so there's certain notes that Stevie uses more than others, and there's certain ways that he has of subdividing the rhythms so that it emphasizes that root note. Let's talk a little bit about rhythm. So again, you can take one of those Vic Firth posters. It gives you about 50,000 different rudiments, drum patterns, different ways of mixing up your right hand, your left hand into strokes and rolls and roughs and grace notes and stuff like this. So you can learn all of those things. You can learn your drum rolls. You can learn your paradiddles. You can learn your pataflaflas. That's my favorite one, by the way. That's a tough one. But it's not going to make you a good drummer. So how do you apply something like a paradiddle to your actual music? How do you really use that? How do you dig into it and add it to your toolbox? Well, you have to take your paradiddle and take a song that you already know, let's say row, row, row your boat or something, and take that note. You got, row, row, row your boat. You got your 3 notes there, and you've got your left hand on a chord. Let's put it in C. So you're starting on C. You got your left hand on a C major chord. What do you do to turn that into a paradiddle? Well, let's go row, row, row your boat. Okay, so that's your right hand. C, 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 D, E. So we remixed row, row, row your boat. You take your left hand, rest chord, rest, rest chord, rest chord, chord. And I love to tell my piano students to practice drum rhythms and rudiments anyway. You could practice the stuff on your chest. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Pick a finger, pick a note, pick a melody, whatever song you want. Pick a chord, and use the right and left of those rhythms to challenge yourself to actually practice creatively. And you'll actually start having a lot of fun with this because you're not just playing what's on the page. You're not just reading a book. You're not just memorizing the dictionary. The last topic I'll cover is chords. So, for instance, we already talked about C major chord, C, E, G, right? And, of course, the next logical step to that is adding sevenths, which would be the B on top, or the ninth, which is the D. It's like, well, what's the point of adding anymore? I only got 10 fingers, man. So you've got all your chords, right? Then they say, all right, well, you can change the mode of these chords. And we're going to mix the modes now. So now we're going to take, instead of a C major 7, we're going to make it C minor 7. But it's not just the 7 that goes minor. It's also the 3 that goes minor. And it's like, okay, I think I get you. So C minor 7 is a C minor triad. And then we add the minor 7. And so what do we call, a C major chord, C, E, G? What do we call it if we take C, E, G and put a flatted 7 on the top? Well, obviously, that would be a C major minor 7, right? It's like, no, that's a C dominant 7. It's like, okay, well, so a C dominant 7 is specifically a chord that has a major chord on the bottom and a minor 7 on the top. So what kind of crazy name do you have for a C minor triad on the bottom with a major 7 on the top? That must have some kind of really cool name, right? It's like, no, that's a C minor major 7. So you see why some people would probably just get discouraged by trying to wrap their head around this nonsense. You pretty much know when the student's having fun, and if they're not, that's your job. That's not on the student. You cannot blame the student. You cannot call that student dumb or that student, not applying themselves. No, that's nonsense. If that student is not working hard, it's because you're not making them want to work that hard. This is the way I like to teach. Hopefully that came across here, but let me know what you guys think. Are you interested in music theory? Are you fascinated by it? Do you want to learn more about it, or are you at a point where you think you've pretty much figured it all out? You know what? After you watch the next couple of videos I have coming out this week, you will never have that feeling again. Trust me, my friend. But let me know what y'all think in the comments below. And again, the question of the day, Stevie Wonder, superstition, major or minor pentatonic. Real baby, easy question, but I want to see where everybody's at before I start throwing the real stuff at you. And that's how you get the money.